Hello and welcome. My name is Darren Thompson. I lead vertical sales for the UK at Spotify, and I'm thrilled to be here with you virtually today, streaming live from my back cave, as I like to call it. So, why are we here? We are here for loveAudio, how tech and telco brands win on Spotify. This is the first session of 2022 in our loveAudio global franchise. loveAudio is our event series designed to inspire brands and agencies like yourselves on the power of digital audio, contextual data, and creativity, and to demonstrate how Spotify can address business challenges for tech and telco brands with our unique media solutions. Before we get started, just a little bit of technical information. Do not worry, you will not be seen and or heard during this session. Both your audio and video are turned off. If you have any technical issues or questions during the session, please use the chat function on the right-hand side of your screen, and a member of the Spotify team will get to you as soon as possible. So let's take a look at today's playlist. You can expect a wide range of content over the next 45 minutes or so. First up, we have our Tech and Telco Category Development Officer, Jorrit de Vries, taking a deep dive into the industry trends, challenges, and opportunities for tech and telco brands in 2022. Jorrit will also premiere the third episode from our UK Inside Track series, featuring an interview with Ryan Miles, Head of Media for Windows, EMEA and LATAM at Microsoft. So stay tuned to get your eyes and ears on that. I'll be back later on to host an interactive Resonate session to show you the true power of our first-party data, what we call our streaming intelligence, including some very special Tech and Telco awards. So make sure you stick around to see if you are one of our award winners. Then we'll be joined by our Tech Account Director, Chris Breeze, and Ty DePaoli, who is Media Strategy Lead for EMEA at Meta, for a compelling fireside chat. And last but by no means least, no Spotify event is complete without some music. We are delighted to be joined by the incredible Rina Sawayama for an exclusive performance. Now that you're settled in, I'm delighted to introduce Jorrit de Vries to present the first track in today's playlist, How Tech and Telco Brands Win on Spotify. Jorrit, over to you.
Darren, thank you very much for this intro, and guys, thank you for hosting me in the UK. Good morning from California. My name is Jorrit de Vries, and I'm the Tech Telco Category Development Lead at Spotify. And talking about tech and telco will get me very excited every morning. So I'm happy to be here at 7 a.m. from sunny California. Sun is coming up, so a great day and a great way to start with some insights on how Spotify is helping tech and telco brands in the category. So I spent my whole career in tech and telco, as you can see. So there's also nothing else I can do than talk about tech and telco. I started in music. And via Vodafone and Samsung, I landed at Vodafone, at Spotify, and now have the exciting job of connecting the dots between the tech and telco industry, Spotify's capabilities, and our go-to market. And what better place to do that at world's largest audio platform? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll talk about audio. We're available in more than 180 markets. We're the home of music and podcasting. And we eclipsed, yesterday we announced our quarterly numbers, our Q4 numbers, 400 million monthly active users. And that also translates to almost 27 million monthly visitors in the UK. So talk about scale. And the beauty of our platform for advertisers is that our users are always logged on. They use a single identity, and they are using that across all the devices that they're connecting with us. So our platform is a real companion throughout the day for all of our users. And we invested heavily in our ad technology as well to ensure that brands like yourself can reach their full potential on our platform. And in the next 20 minutes, we'll dive into this. Hopefully you get excited for more, and you connect with our teams that we have ready for you to speak to you on the back of this meeting about what we can do for you as a brand. Our streaming intelligence is one of those things that we were talking about, but also some of the innovations we launched over the last couple of years are very exciting to mention. I'll mention two of them. One is streaming ad insertion, and we launched that at the beginning of 2020 at CES, when CES was still an in-person event. And that is a technology that made it possible for the first time to not only target your ads in podcasts, but also measure the outcomes. And the second thing I'll mention is on the end of this timeline, and that's our Spotify Audience Network. And this is a great capability to not only target within podcasts, but target complete audiences on Spotify own and exclusive podcasts, but also with third-party publishers. But if we talk about audio and we say it's all great, of course, we're Spotify, but what does the science say? And we wanted to ask that same question, like, okay, are we touting our own horn, and is there some science to back this up? So what we did is we worked with neuroscience, and we looked at the brains of over 600 participants. We let them listen to a humongous amount of podcasts and music, and infuse that with advertising to see what would happen. And we're not, the brand breakthrough was phenomenal, and we're not talking about compared to other audio formats. The research found that Spotify drove higher engagement than TV, digital, video, and social media as well. So that's a testament to the power of audio. Our platform is deeply personalized, and that seems to create an engaging experience, and more engaging than watching TV or scrolling through your social media feed. So what does that mean for brands? It means a lot, because our research showed that 90% of the activity that people had with the content, so listening to a podcast, listening to music, actually translated to engagement with the advertisement. So almost all of the engagement that people have with the content for which they visit the platform also translate to engagement with the advertising they hear on the platform. And as a result of that, we see a 90% higher brand breakthrough with ads on Spotify compared to other media. And we also reached a perfect moment to talk about audio advertising, because audio and digital audio is eclipsing the use of social. So time spent on audio is higher than time spent on social. So talk about a pretty good starting point to dip your toes into audio if you haven't done so. And also, if we talk about reach, our platform is unrivaled in audience engagement. Spotify reaches over half of the UK's online population, 13 and older, and we also outrank a lot of the other streaming platforms that you see on this chart in terms of reach. And then another important one is those hard to read audiences, right? Those Gen Zs, millennials. We have them on the platform. We reach over 90% of the Gen Z internet users in the UK. And as I said, our audience is spending over 2.5 hours a day with our platform. So it's a real companion for our users. And the other reason why audio is so popular, it's because it's everywhere, right? Spotify is available on hundreds of devices, on TVs, on videos, on game consoles, on your voice-activated devices. But we're also available through every moment, when people are cooking, when they're working, when they're commuting, when they're playing with their kids, you name it. We are that companion for our users. So then, if you think about audio and you think, okay, this is a pretty compelling case, this brand breakthrough sounds great, the engagement sounds great, the reach of Spotify sounds great. Where do you start if you want to dip your toes into audio if you haven't done so? Today, the medium is podcast. Over 18 million people in the UK are currently listening to podcasts, and that is growing tremendously. You saw that in our quarterly earnings yesterday, that globally podcast is still on the rise at a phenomenal clip. But in the UK by 2025, we expect that more than a third of the population will be engaged with podcast. And the way to do that is our most innovative capability today, and that's Spotify's Audience Network. So our marketplace for creators on one hand, advertisers on the other hand, audiences in the middle, and then a complete set of Spotify's own and exclusive podcasts and third-party podcasts. Couple that with tools for measurement and targeting, and you have a phenomenal suite of capabilities to run your campaigns. So let's grease the wheels a little bit, oil the voice here at 7 a.m. Take a sip of water, and we talked a lot about our platform, but now let's look a little bit deeper into what we do for tech brands in the vertical. What do we see in the industry? How do we guide ourselves for brands like yourself? So first, a couple of trends that we follow, and this is not a complete list, obviously, by no means, but these are some of the big things that we see talking to brands on a daily basis with our teams across the world. That 5G, for example, is that momentous shift for telcos and OEMs today to find the upgrader and the switcher. Every tech company is impacted by 5G. It brings new capabilities to consumers. It brings new capability to businesses. But especially OEMs and telcos are searching for the upgrade and the switch, or making sure that people move devices and move plans to this new service. But we also see that customer acquisition is getting more expensive. We hear that from everybody. If you want to move a customer between a plan, between a service, between a device, customers just expect more, and that is getting more expensive for brands to do so. So it's even more important to find the user at the right time, the switcher, the upgrader, and we have the tools to do that. People's homes are also getting more connected. The pandemic is obviously supercharging that. The home becomes the workplace, the home becomes the theater, the home becomes even more that central place for people where they spend most of their time. And lastly, obviously, the metaverse. What is it? Where will it go? Brands are asking their partners all kinds of questions about the metaverse, and some are actually dipping their toes into it. Some are building alternate universes already in the metaverse, but for others, it's just another way to build experiences, right? Or to look at alternative assets, to look at NFTs, to look at crypto. And then alongside those trends, we organize our business basically in three main areas of focus. We have the pocket, the home, and the business. And I'll pick a couple of trends in the next couple of slides to give a little bit more color on how we look at that. But the pocket is obviously, how do we help telcos? How do we help smartphone OEMs? How do we think about mobile? The home is obviously about connected everything, and the business is about reaching the business decision maker and helping B2B brands to break through with their audience. So on mobile, we see that 5G is the most anticipated feature for people's new device. If they are switching, they probably will be switching for the 5G functionality. But we also see that the phone has become a long-term relationship for a lot of people. And what that means is that devices are getting more expensive, and especially in Europe, they have been decoupled from the plan. So people are basically making decisions on a plan on one hand and on the device on the other hand. So there's no real correlation anymore or need to upgrade your device every year, every 24 months. So we see that is stretching out. So it's become increasingly important to find the user at the right point in time. And our streaming intelligence has all these device signals as well. We know where people are, what device they have, how long they have been using them. So that is a tremendous wealth of information for telcos and OEMs alike. And we also know where the upgraders are. We know when they are in market, and we have the effective tools to find them. So then if you think about the home, we think about all these devices that are connected to the Spotify platform. We think about the connectivity on cloud, on platforms, the broadband connectivity, and how we can play a role in there in that space. As I mentioned in the beginning, all these devices are connected to the internet, but most of them are also connected to the Spotify platform. So there is a wealth of information coming from that single sign-on, that single user ID that is spread across all these devices, and it's tremendously helpful to build your strategy around that. We also are looking at incrementality. So how can we help you reach the user that is not on traditional TV or connected TV, for that matter? Most of you are spending your budgets on multiple platforms, obviously, and if TV is one of them, you are increasingly missing out on some of that audience that never connected to TV or that got the cord. So building an incrementality strategy using Spotify's first-party data to do so is very important. So, and then the last bit was the business, right? And how do we reach the B2B decision maker? How do we help B2B brands to break through? So a couple of things that changed in B2B made Spotify such a unique place to do so. One is the consumerization of IT, and that's the notion that the decision for end user technology is mostly pushed down now to the end user. If you work for a big corporation, it's typically so that you pick your own phone, you pick your own plan, and sometimes you even come in with your own laptop. Now that we are working from home and we have the home as being the connected hub also for work, you see that even more. In fact, there is an interesting stat from LinkedIn that today 1 in 7 jobs posted has a remote element to it or is completely remote. Pre-pandemic, that was 1 in 67 jobs. So think about this complete shift of how we work today, and think about what that means for the technology you use and how brands how brands need to break through to also the end user and the consumer and the business to land the same message to drive that decision. And then lastly, we see that the business decision maker, the BDM itself, is changing. New generations coming into the workplace, they're mobile first, they're engaged, they like different ways of being communicated to, they use different platforms to get their information. So they have different expectations from brands as well. And we also know that especially tech and telco brands are not B2C only. In fact, there are a lot of brands in tech and telco, and especially in tech, that are 100% B2B. They don't focus on the B2C consumer. And then you have these brands that have a 10-20% revenue stream, solid revenue streams coming from B2B. And that's where we really started with our go-to-market, with our targeting solutions, and our specific B2B solutions. And this might come as a surprise for some of you, given that Spotify is such a well-known consumer audio streaming platform. We reach more BDMs than most of the endemic outlets out there. So there's a really good case to be made to make Spotify part of your B2B strategy as much as your C strategy. So that's a lot to unpack. And I hope it's some food for thought. I'm not done yet, but I wanted to take another sip of water and let you hear from one of our industry peers and your industry peers, an advertiser that has experience with the power of audio on our platform. And Vane, I'm excited to introduce the 3rd episode in our Inside Tracks installment. That's a video series that talks about a little bit the behind the scenes of collaboration between big brands and Spotify. And in this episode, we have Ryan Miles, head of media for Windows at Microsoft. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Ryan.
People use Spotify to soundtrack their lives in every possible moment. And with hundreds of millions of people listening to Spotify worldwide, we have got to understand people through audio. We call this first-party dataset our streaming intelligence. This audience understanding presents a huge opportunity for brands to connect with fans on our platform. In this series, we're showing you the inside tracks. You'll hear from top ad executives about how to drive brand results on Spotify.
Hi, I'm Ryan Miles. I head up the Windows media team at Microsoft for EMEA and LATAM. I really hate silence in the house, in the car, everywhere. So I've kind of always got something playing in the background. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's podcast. FT News Briefing is how I start my day. One of my other faves is Prof G Show with Scott Galloway. And then one recently I've been getting into is Shot and Chaser, which comes up in my daily drive feed, which I've been really enjoying. So I have some go-to playlists, definitely showing my Aussie colours there. Triple J's Hottest 100 might not mean a lot to anyone outside of Australia, but great playlist, look it up. They also do amazing covers on Like a Version, another Triple J one. They're definitely my go-tos that I'll listen to and repeat, especially when I'm feeling a bit homesick. My first ever album was Freak Show by Silverchair, and anytime that comes up in a playlist, I really enjoy it. And then the other one is Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication. I think I listened to that album for a year straight whilst I was in high school when it first came out. Definitely one I can sing along to almost every track on the album.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about ready now to start the show rolling.
Spotify, being this amazing, huge music platform, has such a great connection to culture and so many different types of people in different moments of their day and in different experiences. I think we use all the clever targeting and rich data across the platform to make sure we can be as targeted and as relevant as possible so that the advertising feels like an integrated and authentic part of the experience. And I think that's really unique to a platform that's connected to people in the kind of way that Spotify is.
Thank you.
Audio's seen an amazing revolution over COVID with the growth of podcasts and listening in different environments on different devices. Just recently, we've done a great Windows 11 campaign with Spotify, seeing over 3 million views and really strong completion rates on our video activity, over 92%. We've tried to be really focus on the experience, and that's where Audio Everywhere and tools like that become really valuable to us as advertisers to make sure we can kind of achieve that smooth integration of advertising with the user experience. We also love that you can be in different channels. It's not just audio, there's video, there's display as well, and I think the combination of all those different mediums inside the platform builds really great frequency through different formats, which is just a bit more impactful. The targeting options are so broad and vast that we really kind of activate in different spaces depending on the campaign or the brief we're operating to. Recently for Microsoft Teams campaign, we really wanted to tap into entrepreneurs. So bringing in third-party data and combining that with the first-party data that Spotify has on the platform really provided a strong solution for us that maybe otherwise couldn't have done. Beyond that, when we're looking at different segments, we'll really just look at the opportunities that come through across the different formats and the different behavioral interest targeting that Spotify provides and make sure that we're trying to be as tight and as relevant as possible across the audiences we're after. I trust Spotify as an advertiser. I think it feels really brand safe. There's much less concern compared to other platforms we have to look at, given its focus on music and the way that it's set up.
Thanks to you.
Oh, we can make light.
There you have it. The third installment of our Inside Tracks video series with Ryan at Microsoft, and I love these videos because not only he talks about Spotify, but he talks about great thing he found on Spotify. And talking to people, I always try to find these new tips, right? Triple J's Hot 100, never heard of it, definitely going to listen to it. Scott Galloway's podcast was already on my list, but there's always some good stuff that's coming out there. But we also heard Ryan talk about audio targeting and audience targeting. So let me close out with that and give you a couple thoughts on what I like to call our superpower. And that's our streaming intelligence. So you've heard throughout the session bits and pieces about it, but to wrap it all together, there's a couple things to remember about our streaming intelligence. We have this tremendous pool of first-party data. And we know who's listening, what they're listening to, when they're listening, and our users are listening. And the next graph will give it a little bit more context, because you can basically start to unpack the day in the life of a user and then amplify that at scale, obviously. Remember, our users are logged in with a single user ID for over 2.5 hours a day on our platform, through all these moods, these moments, these mindsets, through different devices, different places, different times of the day. But also, are you a shuffler, or are you just repeating Billie Eilish 5 times in an hour, or are you just skipping through your tracks at a massive pace? Are you using it while working out or in the kitchen? So managing that together with us and finding the right formats and the right multi-format mix to activate on those audiences is incredibly important and incredibly powerful. And then couple with that, that you have the ability to bring in your own first-party data, so your own data, and that you can bring in third-party data and really round out that set. Like Ryan mentioned, the Teams campaign they did for entrepreneurs, that's a great example of how we help B2B focus targeting on our platform, as well as we do for B2C. And you are in great company, because as you can see on this slide, we just picked a couple of logos, but the who is who of Tech and Telco is working together with Spotify to reach their brand goals. And because I'm rather have brand speak for us than have me talking for another 20 minutes, I would really like to close out with this success story, because this is a unique one. You all know O2, and they have taken it up themselves to become UK's first net zero mobile operator by 2025. And that means a lot, obviously, for a brand. And they were in search for the greenest form of advertising, right? So not only were they looking with inside their own business, but also how they run advertising. So Spotify Sustainable Sonics is a first of a kind offering that offers brands the opportunity to offset the carbon emission that comes from advertising. So we worked with Forest Carbon, and we purchased these carbon offset packages for a whole year. And we also ran separate campaigns on our platform to raise awareness for the fact that we were able to offset the impact of audio advertising on our platform with through planting trees and other measures of carbon offset. So not only did we reach an incredible success and a shift in recall and message association, but we also delivered a great story around together with O2 around the opportunity to be very sustainable in your advertising as well. So there's a little audio clip here to listen to. So let's move over to that.
Ever thought about the environmental impact of using your phone? O2 and Spotify are joining forces to fight CO2 with the launch of Sustainable Sonics. This year, every audio ad you hear from O2 on Spotify will be carbon neutral. That's less C. That means that every time you hear a new audio ad from us, we'll plant around 50 trees across jungles in South America, and even in the UK. Click to learn more.
So that's 1,500 trees right there. So thanks very much for listening to my deep dive. This brings it to a close. I will be back a little later with my 3 key takeaways, but for now, I want to hand it back to Darren to do a very exciting Resonate live session.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic, Jory. Thank you very much. I hope you all found that as insightful and as entertaining as I did. Really looking forward to hearing those key takeaways later on. Now, what better way to demonstrate the power of Spotify's streaming intelligence than with a live Resonate session? So get your phones out, open up the camera app and scan the QR code on the screen and follow the prompts to connect your Spotify account if you haven't done so already. We'll be sending out awards to the winners, so if you want some Spotify swag, and I tell you it is fantastic, make sure that you get connected. And while I'll just give everyone a minute or so and we'll get started. While we're doing that, I'm just going to change my glasses. These are colorblind glasses, people, so I can see the awards nice and clearly. So I'll wait for those awards to come through. Okay, let's get to it. So looks like we've got quite a few people ticking up now. If you haven't done it, you've got to be in it to win it. So let's go to the first award. And the first award is for your group's top artist. So listen, number 1 is Drake. Everyone loves a bit of Drake that's on this call. Kanye West, Justin Bieber, Adele and Ed Sheeran. I'm a bit surprised that Adele isn't number 1 right now. But the group's top, so your top tracks are Easy on Me by Adele, I Drink Wine by Adele, Girls Want Girls with Lil Baby, Drake, Fair Trade with Travis Scott, Drake and Adele. I think Adele and Drake taking the top spots there from you guys. So we can kind of tell the polarizing levels of taste that we have on this call right now. So your top genres were pop at 25%, rap 22%, rock 12%, EDM 8%, and other Don't know what other is. Maybe a little bit of country and western fans on the call at 33%. Let's on to the awards. So first up, we have the award for Potty Mouth. This is the award for the person with the highest number of explicit tracks on their top 50. Get a drum roll in your heads, guys. And the first up winner is Gaz Udin. 90% of your playlist is explicit content. Gaz, you should be proud of that, mate. Keep on going. Second award is the Tiny Dancer Award. The person with the highest average danceability in their top 50 tracks. I love to move every now and again. Well, I think we all do, right? So let's see who's the winner in this category. Razvan Anna, 76% danceability. Looks like you're a little raver, Razvan. Well done on your award. Next award, the Algorithm Master. The person with the most data-driven playlists. This is someone I'm guessing is working in finance or a data analyst of some kind. Let's see who the winner is. Timothy Evans, 12 playlists with the Algorithm Master. I'm not sure what that means, Timothy, but well done. You are the prize winner for that category. Our final award, the Connector, the person with the most collaborative playlists. We love collaboration here at Spotify. So let's see who the winner is for this important award. Amy Flaskett. Well done, Amy, on winning that award. Fantastic. Congratulations to everyone who won an award today. A member of our Spotify team will reach out to you after today's event for you to get your hand on those fantastic prizes. And that completes today's Resonate session. Now, I'm thrilled to introduce one of our tech account directors in the UK, Chris Breeze, for today's fireside chat. Over to you, Chris.
Thanks there, DJ Darren. Loved it. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Breeze. I'm an account director here in the UK within Spotify, and I focus on the tech vertical. Absolutely thrilled to be with you all. Now, I've been at Spotify for 15 or so months, and incidentally, one of the first client calls I had was with a brilliant person I'm about to introduce you to, Ty DePaoli, who is the media strategy lead at Meta. So firstly, a big welcome to you, Ty. Now, since then, not only have we forged a really solid relationship, we've worked on some really successful and engaging campaigns, some of which we'll no doubt talk about later, including a campaign that Ty and the international media team actually won Meta's Internal Impact Award. So congratulations on that, Ty. And with that being said, let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. Can you give us a little bit of background about who you are, where you've come from, your role at Meta, just so everyone gets to know who you are?
Amazing. Thank you, Chris. And hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, watching us online today. So a little bit about me. I was born in Brazil, so you'd tell by my accent. Lived in the US, lived in Canada, and I've been in the UK for 10 years. And actually, I've launched a couple of businesses, not all of them that successful, unfortunately, but one of them was an integrated agency that I then went on to selling before moving to the UK and had the opportunity to work with some amazing brands like Disney, Estee Lauder companies. I've now been at Meta for 2 years, leading the strategic media planning team for what we call a family of apps, which are WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook across the EMEA region.
Brilliant. Thank you for your honesty there as well. Now, when it comes to your listening habits, obviously on Spotify, is there a go-to podcast or a tune or a playlist that you immediately have to press play on to start the day?
Yeah, so I think life is always better with soundtrack, isn't it? But I would say that podcasts, I love Harvard Business Review, IdeaCast, and the Anxious Achiever podcast as well. Music-wise, Indie Road Trip has been on repeat, hoping to go on holiday soon and actually play that on the road. It's not the same listening at home, so hopefully we'll be able to listen on the road very soon.
Perfect. I hear you. I'm an indie fan as well, so I'll go and check that one out. If we move past the sort of introductions and we try and focus on business for a few minutes here. Now, what is the biggest challenge that you as a person and within your team and the brand has in the technology space and the technology sector?
Well, Chris, a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities at the same time. But what I would say is that at Meta, we develop some amazing products and amazing product features. But one of our challenges is that tech is not always tangible. And sometimes we struggle with ideas on how to make our product features, innovation come to life through our media plan. So that's something that not only me, but my whole team in the EMEA region has been tasked with.
Great. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And if I may, how do Spotify solutions help you overcome those challenges?
That's a great question, and I think a lot of what the team has already said today. But for me, a major benefit of Spotify is that we can talk to people when they're immersed. They're immersed in the music. They're immersed in the podcast. They're paying attention. And beyond that, I think the access that Spotify has to artists, to podcast hosts, really enables to leverage kind of the storytelling power of audio in a more tailored, more authentic way. That at the same time, where Spotify's reach has the power to scale.
Perfect, perfect. And as I sort of alluded to earlier on, we've worked on a dozen or so partnerships in 2021. Hopefully more of those to come this year. Is there a particular campaign, a particular partnership that really stands out for you? And if so, why?
That's a great question. And we have done a lot of interesting campaigns, a lot of interesting partnerships. But one I would like to highlight is what we've done for WhatsApp and WhatsApp's privacy feature called View Once. For those who don't know, View Once, it's images that disappear. Obviously, we didn't want to have a disappearing campaign, right? That was not the idea. So we shared our challenge with Chris and the team, and they came back with a great creative execution to speak to our audience through emergent talent. So we're able to identify what our audience cared about. We spotted emergent talent that was relevant to them. And then we partnered with them for them to share life moments, funny stories. It could have been viewed just once. And then to amplify, we also had them curating a playlist that reminded them of that particular moment. And that was sponsored by us at WhatsApp and promoted through a variety of audio and video formats through the Spotify network. And the reason why I like this idea, it's sorry, Chris, sorry. And
please
I think
carry on.
The reason why I chose this one is that it really answered to my main task of bringing the feature to life, and it was done in a fun way. Sometimes tech can be quite dry, but it was done in a fun and an authentic way. Ultimately, it was effective because that's at the end of the day, that's what we all cared about.
Love it. And that partnership meant a lot to me and it's close to my heart, so I appreciate you opening up on that one. As a final question, there's a lot going on with Meta already in 2022. For example, you've got a new agency of choice with Spark Foundry, and I know you're very busy, Ty. Are there any areas that you and the team again are focused on as we progress further into 2022?
Yeah, so we're gearing up for a very busy 2022. So we'll continue planning for WhatsApp and some exciting features. We'll continue supporting Instagram and the creator community. As you said, we're also transitioning to a new media agency, so getting them onboarded into the world of Meta. And I couldn't really do a Q&A without using the word metaverse. And I think as these tools are being built, right, it's important for us all as marketeers to start thinking about them now. And I'm personally excited to be part of this season that allows us to learn so much and create so much, which will hopefully open more opportunities to deliver amazing campaigns with our new agents and with our long-term partners like Spotify.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ty. Listen, a sincere thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your insights and your honesty. And thank you for viewing Spotify as an integral partner for everything that you've done so far and hopefully moving forward. And I'm very excited that we're actually finally meeting next week and having lunch. It's been cancelled, three times, I think, in December, thanks to COVID restrictions. So bring on that to meet you and the team. So thanks again, Ty. For everyone on the call, have a lovely evening. And Darren, back to you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Chris and Ty. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Ty, for taking the time out with this today. Now, before we hear our key takeaways from today's session, we'd love to hear what you thought of the session so far. Please respond to the poll on how likely you are to recommend this event to your colleagues, where 1 is very unlikely and 10 is very likely. Thank you for everyone. Your feedback is so valuable. Now over to Jorit one last time for those key takeaways.
Facebook earlier has been a tremendous partner of Spotify throughout the whole origin story. And you heard from multiple brands today about the power of Spotify in their advertising campaigns. I hope you guys have a better idea and a better understanding, if you didn't already, about what we can do for brands in the B2B space, for brands in the B2C space, and for brands in the tech and telco space in general. So if there's three things that I would like to reiterate at the end of this session, it's first and foremost our audience. It's obviously the most fun and engaging audience you can find there on platforms, but they're also logged in for over 2.5 hours a day with a single user ID, and that powers our streaming intelligence, and that powers your campaigns eventually, because we know exactly where the users are, how to target them, and also help you find the right messaging, the right tone, the right format to do that effectively. We also made the case for audio, not only because we like it, but also the science is telling us that audio advertising is really working. And podcast is on the rise, and businesses are winning in podcasts. We have a tremendous set of use cases to talk to you about, on how you can move your campaign into an audio campaign, how you can leverage the power of podcasting. And especially brands in tech and telco are traditionally very visually focused, right? You need to see, you need to touch, you need to work with the technology. But we have shown over and over that audio, either as an incremental strategy or as a core strategy for technology brands, really work. And lastly, take advantage of the audience targeting capabilities, work with our teams, and infuse our data with your data, and maybe even third-party data, but build this nice round out set of targeting modalities and capabilities to really make your campaign resonate. So those are my 3 takeaways. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Again, good morning from California, but enjoy your evening in the UK. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I hope you connect with our teams throughout the weeks to come. And I would like to hand it back to Darren to bring us home.
Thank you, Yuri. Now we only have a few minutes left before wrapping up today's event. And what an absolutely fantastic event it's been. Thank you all for your time that you spent with us today. You heard from Yuri on the key trends and opportunities for tech and telco brands for the year ahead. We've had some great insights from our live Q&A with Ty and Chris, and you've even experienced the power of our streaming intelligence firsthand. But for now, it's a big thank you from us for joining today's loveAudio session. See you next time. Peace.